Hi everyone, my name is Huang. I represent our study on Amazon versus my brother, how users of shared smart speakers perceive and cope with privacy risks. Let's talk about motivation. Smart speakers have been widely adopted at homes. According to the latest consumer report, nearly 90 million US adults now own a smart speaker. People can carry out a number of activities through the speaker, such as check the weather, respond to the emails, make phone calls, and make purchases. Although smart speakers have many desirable features, many news and previous studies show that these devices have numerous privacy and security issues. Existing studies also report that users have concerns toward external entities while making use of the smart speaker. The concerns include device hacking, recording of private conversations, and the creepy nature of the device. External entities refer to the parties that are not within the household environment, such as the speaker manufacturers, the government, and the hackers. Meanwhile, security and privacy concerns due to sharing a smart speaker among multiple users in a single household have received little attention. As smart speakers are commonly adopted at home environments, there is a need to explore users' security and privacy concerns in such scenario and provide support to improve users' experiences. So for our study, we first investigated users' mental models of their shared smart speakers. Then we explored users' concerns toward their housemates and external entities. And last, we learned about their corresponding coping strategies to address the identified concerns. For the methodology, we performed semi-structured interviews with users of shared smart speakers. The interview questions focus on 4 segments. On average, the interview takes 14 minutes. Participants were recruited through social media and our institution's study list. For data analysis, we performed open, axial, selective, and theoretical coding. During open coding, we identified initial codes. In the axial coding, we related the codes to each other and formed categories. For the selective coding, we selected the main category and reorganized the related codes. As the last step, we developed the theoretical model to explain the core category. This code diagram illustrates how we connect codes to each other and formed categories. Theoretical saturation was reached after interviewing 23 participants. We conducted 3 more interviews and did not obtain any new codes. In total, we interviewed 26 participants from 21 households. Participants' age ranged from 19 to 55 with a mean of 31 and a median of 30. The most popular device participants owned is Google Home Mini. More than 65% participants shared the device with their family members, while others shared the device with their friends. This figure showed participants' occupations. As you can see, the participants covered a wide range of occupations. This table summarizes participants' demographic information. Move on to the results. First, we studied users' mental models of how the device works. We used a combination of 2 methods, a drawing exercise and a verbal explanation. Participants were asked to draw their answers and verbally describe their thought process with reference to their drawings. We discovered that participants' mental models could be categorized into 2 different levels of sophistication. Advanced mental models indicate that users have an in-depth understanding about how the device works. Here is an example. These participants drew an accurate and detailed representation of the smart speaker architecture and explained how the data was stored and processed. Participants with limited mental models had some sense of how the device worked, but were not aware of any technical elements. We then investigated users' mental models of how the device is shared. We also categorized the sophistication of participants' mental models into advanced and limited. Participants with advanced mentals had a reasonable understanding about what features or data were shared and which were kept private. Here is an example. This participant and his wife set up the voice match feature of their shared Google Home. He correctly explained that his reminder and calendar can only be accessed by him through his voice. On the other hand, participants with limited mental models had an incomplete understanding of which features and data were shared and which were kept private. For example, When participant 22 explained how the smart speaker was shared between him and his family members, he only drew and described the features that were mostly used by each other. In terms of concerns about housemates and visitors, we found out that the degree of sophistication of a user's mental model appears to correlate with their levels of concerns about their housemates. To be more specific, we found out that participants' inadequate mental models may lead to inaccurate threat models. Here is an example. Participant 19, who is male, 38 years old, shared his Google Home Mini with his wife and young daughter. He did not set up his voice profile. He expressed concerns about his young daughter using the redial function of the device. He said, if I called my boss or if I called a client, I do not want my daughter redialing the last call to someone she's not supposed to talk to. However, the redialing function is only available when the voice profile is set up. So this misunderstanding confirms that participant 19 had an inadequate mental model of the device sharing, which leads to him have an inaccurate threat model. We also found out that participants with advanced mental models tend to have concerns related to immature technology, such as voice match false positive. For example, participant 8 said, my younger brother has a similar voice. Sometimes when we talk to the speaker, it recognizes him as me. In terms of concerns toward external entities, participants were mostly worried about the usage of the data that is being collected by the speaker company. Participants identified 5 use cases they were worried about. First, participants believed that the device manufacturers could use the collected data to determine their life patterns. One participant mentioned that if she asked for a recipe, she must be in the kitchen, and the company could use her data to learn about this. Some participants believed that the speaker manufacturers could secretly sell their data to third parties. A few participants were indeed concerned about their private conversation being recorded and shared with other entities. Some participants suspect that the company collected their data without their permissions or collected more than it needed to. Some participants explained that they had to accept the privacy and security risks in exchange for the functionality of the speaker. However, some of them expressed concern about the uncertainty of such trade-off. Move on to the strategies that participants adopted to address their concerns toward housemates and visitors. We found out that although participants had different levels of understanding of how their speakers work, they adopted similar strategies. For example, many participants just simply avoid using certain features. Participant 8 said, I do not want to link my credit card or any payment kind of stuff to the shared speaker. Even though many participants were aware of the potential security and privacy problems, they were not concerned about them. They expressed acceptance of the risks and gave us many reasons, such as trust toward housemates, nothing to hide from housemates, and helplessness. Some participants believed that they had control over the data that they share with other users. For example, participant 6 said, we're not sharing significant things like some credit card information. I think it is up to you. You control what you share. This statement indicates that the participants were concerned at the beginning and unintentionally adopted a strategy which is not sharing significant things. Participants reported adoption or awareness of diverse strategies for coping with their concerns about external entities. Similarly, many participants intentionally avoided using certain features or storing sensitive information on the device. Few participants report that they had taken every mitigation strategy that they have been suggested to or they are aware of. So it's not the company's responsibility to ensure the strategy they have taken can actually protect their privacy. Participant 14 said, I have all my security settings set up. Now it's up to the speaker manufacturer. Regarding external entities, many participants reported that they accept the security and privacy risks, citing various reasons, such as trust in the company. Some participants believe that the company's collection of data was necessary to improve the technology, and many participants believe that there is nothing they can do to stop the company from collecting data from them. A couple of participants admit being lazy to take any coping strategy. Some participants argue that their privacy could be violated through other means, so there is no need to be concerned about the speaker. Participant 7 said, unauthorized access to financial information can happen with a credit card. The risk exists regardless. Some participants also believe that they had control over the data that they shared with the speaker manufacturers. For example, participant 11 said, anything that I do not need to or want to share, I just do not put it on the speaker. This data control strategy suggests that this participant was concerned in the first place and adopted corresponding strategies to address the concern. Now move on to the key takeaways. First, latent concern. After participant voiced not being concerned, we followed up on their responses and asked for further explanations. We discovered that the adopted mitigation strategies and the concerns about using smart speakers were perceived by the participants from two different perspectives. On one hand, many participants first expressed their concerns about using a speaker. Then they described their mitigation strategies, which can be seen as the left triangle of this figure. On the other hand, some participants reported not being concerned. What we found later is that some of their justifications were actually unintentionally adopted strategies, which can be seen as the right triangle of this figure. We conclude that the participants do have latent concerns, and these concerns should be also considered to be addressed. We also found that users have concerns toward both external and internal entities. As explained before, participants' concerns with respect to their housemates are often related to their mental models of speaker sharing. We also found out that participants' perceptions of the smart speaker risks are majorly influenced by social media. So on one hand, many participants tended to have greater trust that the company would protect their privacy if they have read positive news about the company's data collection policies. On the other hand, participants' concerns about the speaker tend to increase if they saw negative news. The most common strategies participants adopted to address their concerns are acceptance and avoidance. This all-or-nothing coping strategy suggests a lack of effective risk management. We also found out that the multi-user features of the device do not support users' needs well. Based on the key takeaways, we made several recommendations. First, we believe by helping users with limited mental models to improve their understandings of how the device is shared could help them make more effective risk management decisions. We suggest that companies present precise information to the public in a clear way to help users build trust in the device and the company. We also suggest that companies explain and minimize the convenience privacy trade-offs that they offer to the users. Also, to ease the concerns about other users accessing information through the shared device, users should be able to customize what information they want to share and the people they want to share with. As voice recognition technology continues to mature, device manufacturers should improve this technology on the smart speakers to reduce the false positive rates to acceptable levels. Thank you.